Hey guys, so update 0.18 has finally arrived in Armored Warfare. So, I figured since I did it in, I want to say the last patch, possibly the one before that, I'm going to keep the trend going. I'm going to do I, I want to say quick overview, but I know damn well it's not going to be quick. Pretty much I'm going to go over the patch notes. I'm going to show you some of the new features, including the Proving Ground, and then in another video I'll play global operations, which has been added, as you can see right there. So new garage, which has been sufficiently spookified for Halloween, as you can see. They've improved shaders, if I'm not mistaken. Fixed, or I want to say fixed, but they've updated the wheeled vehicle physics. And I'm just gonna take this from the actual patch notes, which you can find on their website, and I'll link in the description. I'm not gonna go over all of it because it's just too much to go over. But pretty much they've updated the wheeled vehicle friction. So vehicles with wheels, especially four wheels, they won't break traction as easily if one or more wheels loses contact with the ground or terrain, pretty much. So you should be able to keep control of the wheeled vehicles a bit better now, in theory. I haven't tried it out, so I don't actually know yet. Don't really have many wheeled vehicles except like the Centurion, but that's, it's not four wheels, so there's that. Harbinger has been overhauled. It's now on River Point. They've changed anti-tank guided missiles again. As you might know, they altered it in 0.17, but the problem was that on tanks that didn't have launchers that could move, what would happen is if you got on uneven terrain, a lot of the times your ETGM would just launch forward and usually hit the ground, which could be a real pain in the ass. They changed that, and pretty much what happened is they allowed the fixed position ATGMs to move a little bit, so you shouldn't, in theory, have them just slamming into the ground instead of what you're aiming at. So that they didn't add the artwork for that yet, so it's still gonna look like it's fixed and not moving, but it is, in theory, moving. They've also re-added the 1.5 second delay when switching weapon systems because people were farming too much damage, which is, I guess, is a problem. I assume it's probably a problem in PvP, not so much PvE, where pretty much the only goal is to out-damage your teammates and win, for now, which should change when they add survival and all that good stuff. But there's that. They've removed a feature which prevented certain components, specifically tracks, from taking additional damage when already destroyed and repairing. Tracked vehicles can once again be continually... which prevented certain components, my bad. So you can now perma-track tanks again, pretty much. They've updated the shaders, so it looks better in the garage and in-game, as you can tell here. You can also zoom in with the new garage, although it kind of... I don't know if you can tell or not, but it kind of adds like a blurred effect a little bit, which is weird. I'm assuming that's probably a bug. I already went over the ATGMs and the weapon switch. They changed the field of view. Default field of view was changed from 80 to 55. Minimum field of view was changed from 65 to 40, and maximum remains at 110. If you have a negative gold value, you have to bring it back into the positive or back to 0, or you can't log into the game. And in case you don't know what that means, there was a trick or an exploit, I guess you could say, that some people were using, which pretty much they would purchase gold and then they would retract the payment to still get the gold. And yeah, you can't do that anymore, which probably a good thing, really. There's the new garage. PvE screen improvements. We improved the PvE mission selection screen, which I'll show you right now. It doesn't seem all that different, besides the fact that they don't seem as spread out. This is a little bit different, but it's still the same information really. It's not like it has a little map showing you what the actual map that you're going onto is. Obviously, a lot of them are the same map, just different areas or objectives. I kind of wish, this is probably just a pipe dream here, but what I would like is just a suggestion thrown out there. I wish that if you clicked on the hard mission, it would show you this, but it would also have like a pop-up that you could click on to show you the map and what the objectives are, which would be nice. Because right now you can pick your mission, and then it has the countdown, so right there, and you can pick which tank you want to bring. Certain maps are better for certain tanks. Like some maps you don't want to bring an artillery to because it's just a bad choice. You know, most people don't know what map Cerberus is. So, you know, if you're bringing artillery, you see the map name, you don't know which map it is. Do you play the artillery or do you not play the artillery? Just an idea there would be nice. They updated the notifications, so now if it's not something that's important, it will just kind of fade away instead of just constantly being stuck there until you click on it or right click on it. That's good. They removed the base, as you can probably tell. They decided to focus on bug fixes and adding new content to the game instead of adding more stuff to the base. So for the time being, it's being removed, and they said, if I'm not mistaken, that it might make a return in the future. The rewards that you had, you don't get to keep your resources or get reimbursed later on. However, they're adding a flat bonus to your account to offset the bonuses that the buildings you could build gave you. So premium account, time cost minus 5%. Credit bonus 5%, retrofit cost minus 10%, repair cost minus 10%, commander XP 10%, crew XP 10%, global reputation 50%. And it should increase the garage load time because apparently it was lagging the game a little bit. They added a bunch of new flags, so you can find that on the patch notes, which I'll put in the description. You can now see player battalion tags in your friends list. As you can see there. Although some of them aren't actually showing up, because I know for a fact some of these people are in GSC and they don't have tags. So I'm assuming it only updates when they log in. Bunch of changes to the custom map, or not map, match. More options and settings to disable grass from rendering in first-person camera mode. More prompts in PvE. A bunch of other bug fixes. Updated art asset for player tags and the controls menu. I'm assuming this is what they mean. Possibly? No? I don't know. Bunch of changes to post-match for custom matches. They updated platoons, which might be a bad thing. They kind of have a bad tendency of messing up platoons a little bit. From what it says, platoon leaders' Q buttons will now light up when all members are ready. Platoon members' Q buttons will remain grayed out. Switching between Qs, PvP, PvE, global operations. As a platoon leader will now force unready all members of the platoon, which kind of seems like a pain in the ass. Could just be my impression. Credit conversion discounts are now easier to notice. Also, they changed the tech tree. So if you go to the tech tree, before, what happened is you'd have the 1 to 2 tier tanks that you could play, and then you'd have to do certain tasks to unlock all these different tank lines. And it would appear tier 4 still has it. But the tier 3s do not. Pretty much, once you get your tier 2 tank to be, I believe it's renowned. Yeah, it's renowned. It just unlocks all the tier 3s. So you now can buy them as soon as it's renowned. So that should make it easier for people to get into the game, go up the tech trees, and hopefully get to the higher tiers better, in theory. The tier 4 SPG got changed, actually. It's now just 50. Apparently it was different before. I don't remember. The Chieftain line has been altered. Before, the Chieftain was just at tier 5, and then you'd have to get a certain amount of damage to get to it. You still have the gap at tier 6. I think they said they're adding the Chieftain 900 or something like that. I think it's the Chieftain 900. I could be wrong. They haven't actually said a date for that. They just said it's in development, so that could be whenever. But now the T64 leads to the Chieftain Mark V, so it might, or it should be easier to get to the Chieftain Mark V in theory. So you have that. A bunch of bug fixes with AMX 10 RCR, B1 Centauro, B1 Draco. Originally, they said it was getting removed, and the Centauro 120 was being moved to tier 9. I'm assuming that's still the plan in the long run. However, in this patch, the Draco is no longer an AFV. It's now a tank destroyer, even though it still says AFV. If you look at the picture, it now has the tank destroyer emblem, similar to all the tank destroyers, as you can see there. I don't know why they moved it to the AFV line when it was already under the tank destroyer line. I just don't know. So it's now a tank destroyer. It has some of its scouting perks altered, I guess. They don't exactly specify what it was. Bunch of other bug fixes, which you can see in the patch notes. The M62000, which is the collector edition tank alongside the Challenger 1 Falcon, I think it is, now has side skirts added to the visual model. And just a bunch of other bug fixes, really. Bug collisions across numerous PvE and PvP maps have been fixed. And while I'm doing this, they added a proving ground. So now, if you don't own a tank, if you go to the tech tree, and let's say, I'm grinding down the Stingray line. I'm interested in getting the XM8, which is true. I'm interested in getting the XM8. It's not my top priority just yet. I'm still working on tier 9s and tier 8s. But let's say I'm interested in seeing how it plays, okay? So you have the upgrades and all that good stuff. Obviously, you can't test that out. But if you right-click on it, you have a little test drive here. So assuming it doesn't crash my game, because apparently people have been having some crashes with it. I tried it once, it didn't crash, so it could just be a rare occurrence. I don't know. And it would appear we're in battle, so there we go. Bunch of PvE fixes as well, which you can see in the patch notes. They've improved the sounds. They added a new turbo diesel engine sound set for vehicles which were using the turbine engine previously. So that should be noticeable. Fix a bunch of other stuff, and we'll just get into the proving ground here. So as you can see, I don't actually own this tank, but I can now play it in the proving ground, and it's actually a pretty big area, really. But we'll just drive around for a little bit, screw around a bit, and got some screens there. Can't actually get to them, sadly. But you can drive the tank around, you can blow shit up, you can screw that up if you're bad at driving. And yeah, there's just a lot of bug fixes this time. Not really a lot content-wise in terms of like new vehicles. They said already that they're working on Balance 2.0 rather than oh, I fucked that up. Rather than adding tanks just yet, and I think they said early next year we'll be seeing new tanks, because they apparently have a lot of tanks that they have in reserve that they just haven't put out yet because they're waiting to put out Balance 2.0. So as you can see, Proving Ground lets you just kind of drive around, mess shit up, bounce on a Terminator because it's a troll tank. Why not? And yeah, it seems like a pretty good patch so far. Especially the fact that you can now test drive vehicles on a, in my opinion, pretty cool map. Can't pan a Challenger because it's a Challenger 1. Why not? But I think that's about it, really. I'll put the rest of the patch notes in the description because the video is already... It's getting a bit long, and I don't want to go over every single change in the game, really, because that would take quite a while, to say the least. So there's that. But as you can see, it's a pretty nice addition to the game. I still suck at shooting at main battle tanks on the move, apparently. And yeah, so I feel like I'm forgetting something important, really. Whoa, that's a bug. Anyways, so yeah, shit, what was I gonna say? I really should write down what I want to say during these goddamn. But yeah, there's still a bunch of bugs that haven't been fixed quite yet. Like the reconnect or disconnecting from battle is still a problem, which they're working to fix. That's the edge of the map.
Identify target. Hostile tank.
Special rounds for artillery. Messing up the reticle texture is kind of a bug there. But they've added a bunch of stuff, and they've fixed a bunch of bugs, which I'm assuming a lot of people will be looking forward to. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. I should, in theory, be putting out a global God damn, I hate Terminators. A global operation video soon after this, along with the IS-7 video, because I probably will put this out before that, even though the IS-7 was in update 0.17. So, or at least when I record that video, it was update 0.17. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more content like this, feel free to leave a comment and a like if you like the content. It helps me figure out what you guys like, what you don't like, and so on. Thank you for watching.